Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Jacob Wile, too.
And welcome to a long-delayed installment of Tiki's Universe. That's right. It's the show where we cover all the animated programming that we love, including DuckTales, including Star vs. Force of Evil, Rick and Morty, and now welcome to the Wayne Dragon. It's finally here. I called you Dragon. I'm so sorry.
It's fine.
So Jacob, it's finally like we are welcoming everyone else to our Welcome to the Wayne podcast. Yay!
Woohoo!
Right. Of course, Jacob, this marks a turning point. This is a big moment for us. This is our first Nickelodeon show that we're covering. And the reason why we're specifically covering this show on Nickelodeon is because The Loud House is definitely a success, and they make a lot of episodes really quickly. Like, my God, the production schedule on that thing is really rolling the ball. So I haven't really had time to catch up with The Loud House.
Me neither.
And it just seems like, at this point, they're so far along in their story. But rest assured, The Loud House was a big turning point for Nickelodeon, because I feel like that was, the first time in forever. For the first time in forever, we found a show that's not SpongeBob. And so, of course, Jacob and I, we're going to jump on the bandwagon of Welcome to the Wayne, which I'm crossing my fingers that this thing is going to be a success, Jacob. Of course, it's a very, very new show. Do you have any background info on it?
Well, I don't have much. I do have some info though.
Go ahead.
The show's actually came from a couple of ideas from creator Billy Lopez, including several ones that was selected by Nickelodeon, but this is the one they decided to pursue.
Okay.
The other show was the one called Bobby and Tommy, which eventually made its way into this one.
Nice.
The idea for this show came about when he lived in New York City, which is actually as I eventually figured out where the show actually takes place.
Mm-hmm.
He grew up there, and he noted, and he's like, saw these tall mysterious buildings. Always wondered what happened in there, and that's where part of the idea for this series came from. It actually started several years ago as a mini series, as a mini web series on Nick.com. The episodes are no longer available.
Okie dokie.
But Nickelodeon eventually greenlit into a full series, and here you go.
All right. Well, we're going to go. Here's how we're going to break it down, folks. Of course, they dropped the first 5 episodes just kind of like out of nowhere. Like, here they are, just all in a row. And Jacob and I, we were covering a lot of other things at the time. I believe that was like right in the midst of stuff like Christmas in July, and then Dragon and I were caught up with Luke Cage, and things got out of hand, and one thing led to another, and here we are, Jacob, because we are here to talk about the first 5 episodes of Welcome to the Wayne in anticipation for the next 4 episodes, which just dropped this week. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the first 5 in one podcast, and then talk about the next 4 in individual podcasts throughout the week. Now, of course, folks, this isn't going to be our only Tiki's Universe content this week, because DuckTales is finally back, Jacob!
Woohoo!
Woo freaking who! Oh
Yeah.
My God, and I'm so happy that we're actually going to get DuckTales airing consistently. Consistent scheduling. Feels good. So, we're actually going to have a lot of cartoon content over the next couple weeks. All right, so Jacob, let's get right into it. Let's start with episode 1, entitled Rise and Shine, Sleepyhead. So, this was a pretty decent pilot episode to get us into the, into the mood, into the gist of the series, I would say.
Yeah, it got us used to the characters, the overall setting, and even set up some pretty interesting plot points as well.
Yeah, I'd say it was a pretty successful first episode. I really, I mentioned this before, but I really enjoy the dynamic between the kids and the adults in this series. I think that the Spy and Masterson are really, really fun characters. I can't wait to see more of them. We got Masterson, of course, we'll talk about him later he gets kind of a pivotal episode all his own. But you know,
and he gets a great line in this episode: "Whoever controls the Wayne controls the world."
oh yeah, oh yeah. Now, of course, along with Masterson, we get Jonah Bishop, who's another character that's introduced in the first episode that I really like. And I really like the dynamics between the kids and the adults. It's very for a show that's this wacky and goofy. I like how it's like, yeah, you're kids, you know. It's very realistic to how adults would treat kids. I don't know. I like it in that way. And with Jonah Bishop, I like how there's sort of a "don't meet your heroes" vibe going on with this character.
Yeah, because he doesn't even care about them at all. It's like, I just wish these kids would leave me alone.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, episode 1, like you said, it sets up the world very well. I really like the stanza. That's probably my favorite setting in the whole show thus far, which is this crazy giant library with the freaking floating whales from Pines of Rome from Fantasia 2000 just hanging out. No, not really, but pretty close.
Pretty much.
And yeah, we get we get some cool world building in there. We get some fun some fun cliffhangers with the card with Ansie's name on it. I gotta say, Jacob, watching the first 5 episodes, the dynamic between Ollie and Saraline, yeah, they really hit it right on the head. And it's definitely it might on surface value feel like Dipper and Mabel 2.0. And there's definitely an aesthetic to that. Like, I can see where people are coming from that, but I don't know. I think their personalities are different enough that I can I can really gravitate towards these two. They have a really good timing with each other.
I have to tend to agree. I mean, it's just really
Spontaneous harmonies.
Yeah. I mean, they act like actual brother and sisters.
Yeah, I really find them charming.
Albeit one that's like super smart, and the other one is just like goes with the flow.
Okay, there is one episode in this lineup that I found their characterization a bit off. We'll get to that. Let's see. Anything else to say about Sleepyhead?
No, I like the title character.
Yes. I like how it seems for the most part that each episode, correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like at least for a lot of these, the episode titles are referring to the monster involved.
In a way, kind of, yeah. Like even indirectly, and it seems that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of I like that monster of the week kind of format we get with the show too.
Yeah, not a bad monster to start out on either.
No, not at all. Not at all. Okay, let's get to episode 2. Like a happy bird. Oh boy. Yeah. So this episode was certainly interesting. My favorite element of this episode is seeing how normal people react to the weirdness of the Wayne.
It's like, especially when they get all gobzonkered or whatever they called it.
I mean, I'm not going to lie, Jacob. I'm going to be blunt. To me, it straight up looked like that girl was on drugs.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what they were going for.
Yeah, right.
Like the wonked out eyes, the crazy sayings. It's like, yeah, it's like totally kind of like something you see on drugs.
But I really like that idea, and I kind of like feel like that idea speaks to the Rick and Mortiness of this show, where the show does feature like really far out, like mind-blowing concepts a lot of the time.
Yeah, okay. I do see what your point there. But one thing that I wonder is, like, how are the other people immune to it? That's like,
yeah, who knows?
I mean, maybe they've just been exposed to it enough that it's not too weird to them.
Let's see. I really like the Gremlins-esque quality to this monster we get. You know, like where he has to be fed at 5 o'clock, or else there's going to be dire consequences.
I mean, they're obviously not trying to hide that the monster is, in fact, the ferret.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, pretty much anyone could figure it out, so it's not like they're even trying to hide that.
And of course, the big character this episode, Jacob, is Mr. Tony Stanza. My God.
Oh yeah, he's pretty interesting. It's a shame we don't see him in these remaining 5 episodes anymore.
I mean, I feel like this is a character where they're definitely like building him up, and he's going to be like, every time he shows up, it's going to be like, oh, it's Stanza. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he's definitely kind of a, like, I don't blame them for not having him every episode, because he feels like he has a lot of weight to him in the story.
Actually, we haven't seen the librarian either.
We haven't seen the librarian since episode 2, right?
And we saw her here, but she said she was leaving for a while. So I wonder what's going on here. Probably revealed later on.
I mean, to be fair, we haven't even been back to the Stanza since then, I don't think.
Nope. So,
anyways.
For making a big fuss about finding it, they really don't spend a lot of time in there anymore.
Right. Well, I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's a rhythm to these first few episodes of the show that's, honestly, this is going to seem like a weird comparison, but the rhythm of these first few episodes kind of reminded me of the rhythm of the first few episodes of Pokemon.
Interesting comparison.
Where it's just like, hey, we're going to meet another new character and another new monster.
It's a good way.
That was totally the rhythm of like the first 10 episodes of Pokemon. We're like, oh, hey, it's the Bulbasaur episode. Then it's the Squirtle Squad episode, and it's the Charmander episode, and everyone remembers the Charmander episode because it was so sad, and his tail was almost out of fire because he was left in the rain. I digress. Anyways.
Yep.
I don't know, but you see what I mean? Like, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, this show definitely has a rhythm to it.
Yeah, I do.
It's going all over the place. It's telling all these different stories, and I feel like unlike stuff like I just mentioned, you know, where it's just kind of like all over the place for the sake of randomness, I feel like this show is going to definitely eventually connect all the pieces, but
that's what it looks like. And like, to be fair, they've been pretty busy protecting the wing.
So in a way, I think this show is successful both in kind of an episodic context and in a, in an arc sort of context. Which I've heard grumblings and murmurs about this show not getting good ratings because of the serialized quality of it, and I really hope that's not the case, because I do think that the writers are going out of their way, especially on a visual level, to distinguish these episodes and make them really fun. And for 22 minutes, I mean, these are, the stories are pretty ambitious, and we get some pretty cool visuals in each episode.
I do have to agree. I mean, again, in every episode, there's at least like one nod to the previous episode, like in terms of like plot element or something.
All right. So speaking of continuing plot elements, episode 3 is Mail Those Cards, Boys. And Jacob, God. Jacob, what you're seeing right now, this is my favorite moment of the series thus far.
It's a minor setback.
Masterson to me is by far my favorite character on the show right now. I love everything about this guy. I love how self-serious he is, but I also love the fact that like he's self-serious in really goofy situations, and he can be kind of like childlike and bratty while having that self-seriousness to him. Like when he's like, "Oh, thanks for holding the elevator for me. That's really rude of you."
Or how he actually paused when Ollie got the stuff in his eye.
Oh God.
Or the rock paper scissors, best 2 out of 3.
Yeah, best 2 out of 3 had me cracking up. I was rolling at that.
It's just like you're an evil mastermind, or working for an evil mastermind. Just take the cards.
One of the things I have to applaud this episode for is its sense of suspense, because this is an episode. It's kind of like one of those classic cartoon tropes that you see a lot of the time that really works well. Of okay, we've got the object, we have to protect the object. And then the object is constantly being shifted around and thrown into the wrong hands.
Yeah, I mean, I did like that. I did like that element of this episode. It was definitely kept it on. Definitely kept it moving at a brisk pace.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Let me
Which
see. Of course, we get the mailroom set piece, which is really fun. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Monsters Inc. with just the, just the scale of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a wonder. It's a wonder how anybody finds their mail in that place.
Yeah, remind me what the monster was this episode, Jacob.
That wasn't really a monster. I mean, it was just the robotic pigeons.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay. Okay.
I mean, it wasn't really the monsters per se, considering they were trying to help them to begin with, and
Yeah, exactly.
they're trying to deliver the mail.
All right. Yeah, just a really fun Masterson episode. Like I said, I think he's definitely my favorite character on the show so far, and I want to see more of him. Although I think he definitely works as a side character. So, it's kind of a mixed bag there. It's like,
Plus, what about that asset guy?
Oh yeah, Leaf. Okay, this is another weird thing about these first few episodes is how every episode kind of introduces a new character. Of course, the episode 2 we got Julia, who was she was pretty decent, kind of a love interest for Antsy, kind of a rival for Ollie. I kind of like Julia. I see her kind of fitting into the core group of the show. This guy Leaf, I'm not sure. I do like Sarah struggles in friendship. Like, that was a very relatable thing to me. And again, Sarah to me is like kind of the relatable sort of like intelligent but eccentric.
Yeah, I mean, of the three main, she's definitely my favorite.
Of the three main characters, yeah, for sure. But yeah, it's definitely let's see, sorry, I lost my train of thought there.
I'm just saying. I just like the dynamic. I mean, we're probably not going to see too much more of that Leaf guy.
I mean, I hope not. I look, I'm not trying to bash him. I'm just saying he was like, yeah, it's like, there's a reason why he didn't have any friends, man. This guy was really, he was really a bit of a tool. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I just asking. I wasn't really.
He had his own music. He had his own theme music on the go, ready to play.
He definitely had a high sense of self-importance.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not trying to bash the character or anything. And like I said, I do like, for me, it's like I mostly just like the character development for Sarah, and he's just sort of like an object of that. So
that's what I was trying to get at. With
sure. Okay, you want to move on to episode 4?
Today was awesome. Yes. Some pretty weird monster designs for this one, I must admit.
I really like the monster designs in this show in general.
Yeah, me too. They're very creative.
They almost kind of have a Miyazaki-esque charm to them.
Almost like an ugly cute.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm talking about when I say Miyazaki. Like, sort of like, like, it's exotic, but you can also picture it being a plushie.
Yeah, a weird demonic plushie, but still one nonetheless. Hello?
Yeah, sorry, I was just taking a sip of my drink.
Sorry.
It's all good. Yeah, so in this episode, we're introduced to the vampire hunter character. Remind me of his name.
Wendell Wassman.
Wendell, that's right. What do you think of this guy?
I think he's pretty interesting. I mean, he definitely has an interesting personality and definitely a creative ability.
Do you know who voices him?
Who?
Wendell?
No, I don't.
Hold on, I'm gonna look it up really quick because I know it's not Wallace Shawn, but the character has a very Wallace Shawn way of speaking to me. So I'm curious who voices this guy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean,
Dana Snyder.
Oh, nice. I think I've heard of him.
Isn't that Master Shake? I'm pretty sure that's Master Shake.
I think it is.
All right. Well done. Well done, Mr. Snyder, for your Wallace Shawn-esque vocal delivery there. Yeah. Anyways.
And telepathic control of spoons.
Yeah, I really like how I like how this episode and the next episode kind of tie into each other. Gives it that's definitely the most serialized we get in the series, is like tying those two into each other.
It's like definitely the strongest sense of continuity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I personally did like him as a character. I mean, I thought he definitely means well. I mean, he's not like outright malicious or anything. So
yeah, I like how he's kind of just like he very much fits into the archetype of Team Timbers. And you know what? I really do hope that what they're building towards, this is just me speculating right now, but I hope they're building Team Timbers to be kind of like a losers club style, like where they let in other people eventually to help solve the mysteries of the Wayne.
I mean, it does seem like I mean, it would be something like they do like an episodic basis. I mean, it wouldn't be. I mean, I think the heart of the show right now is just a 3. I mean, they'd have to build on that more, of course.
Well, I'm saying maybe, for the next, like, introduce all the side characters in the first season, and then maybe start to grow Team Timbers in future seasons. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm still on my it high and I'm really craving, like, like lovable groups of outcast kids, but...
Sounds logical.
All right, anyways. Okay, you know what, Jacob? This is like the one time I'm going to complain in this podcast, because in this episode, I really felt the characterization of Ollie and Saraline was off.
Yeah, I do kind of have to agree with you on that one, honestly.
Like, it literally just felt like they were being, just very facetious and, very condescending towards Ansi, just for the point of, just to illustrate the themes of the episode. You know what I mean? It felt like lazy writing to me. It didn't feel like it came from a natural place. And maybe this is just me as like a 27-year-old man, like, analyzing the right, like, oh, this isn't sophisticated literary writing for this children's television show. You know what I mean? But I don't know. This was by far, to me, because of that, like, even though I did like the I did like the Wendell character, but I think just because of the characterization, this is probably the weakest of the 5 episodes for me.
It's like, I mean, they did kind of feel like they did kind of feel a bit out of character for that. I mean, I will give you that.
I mean, the thing that really bothered me is that we haven't really ever seen, like, I was actually really getting into the Ollie and Ansi friendship, and up until this point, we never really saw Ollie baby Ansi at all. Like, I never saw that as part of their dynamic. And then this episode, Ollie's just like hitting it on like really thick just for the point of a gag. And I don't know, like I said, for a show that's supposed to be based on continuity, that just feels like lazy writing to me.
It just seems like Saraline was more forceful and condescending than she usually is. I mean,
Saraline's a little bit more in character because, she's usually, kind of a more stern and rough around the edges type character, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I know, but she just taken a bit further in this episode past her normal extreme. I think the thing that really bothered me is the whole, like, the babysitterness of it all, where she was like, yes, you need to be supervised. And, it's almost kind of like, it almost goes back to like the problems people have with like early Steven Universe, where Steven Universe, the gems are constantly treating Steven like a baby. I don't know. Kind of reminded me of that a little bit.
Well, at least episode 5 grew out of that.
Yeah, exactly. With Steven Universe, it took like 20 episodes to get out of that phase.
Well, I wouldn't know.
Anyways. Okay, anything else to say about episode 4?
Not really. I mean, not really. It's like how it kind of leads into the next episode.
Absolutely. Speaking of which, let's get to episode 5. Say that title, Jacob.
Some kind of tap dancing beekeeping whaler.
Some kind of tap dancing beekeeping whaler. Yes, that is a title. That's what that is.
Yes. It's also a quote.
Right. Anyways, how do you feel about this one, Jacob? Is kind of like the finale to at least the few episodes of this show.
So I definitely like the new introduction of Andre. I mean, he seems like a very interesting character to look forward to in the future.
Yeah, this is the type of thing I'm thinking when it's like we're not going to have these characters every episode, but of course, I definitely think that eventually we will see more characters with Ollie Saarline and Ansi as the show goes on, and I think this is especially going to be a guy that's going to be one of the main I think this guy and Wendell are both going to be main recurring characters, because how can you not have a vampire and a vampire hunter on a show and like have a lot of fun with that?
Yeah, I mean, this episode already getting. At least we now know why Wendell's his expertise with spoon control, because the vampires are legitimately afraid of spoons here.
Okay, was I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna address the big Tommy Wiseau in the room. All right, was I the only one who was thinking of the room with all these spoon references?
Probably. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen enough of the room to think of the spoons.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
I mean, I haven't actually watched the room. I've just seen like several reviews of it.
There's a lot of spoons in the room if you look for them, Jacob. A lot of spoons. Maybe this guy was just like, Tommy Wiseau, spoons,
Yes.
I don't know. I'm just being silly, Jacob. I'm just being silly. Anyways.
I know.
All right. So, yeah, of course, it's interesting that we build up through these 5 episodes to this guy being the quote-unquote monster of the week.
Yeah, it's a really interesting with like an amnesiac vampire. It's like a very interesting way to go with this. Like, there's something to be built up with this guy.
For sure. Of course, we've had our fair share of amnesiac superheroes with the Tick lately. It's not a new plot line. Of course, Spider-Man 3 covered the topic, but to have the vampire into it and in the Wayne mythology, it seems like this guy does have some sort of bigger role to play beyond just the role we saw him in the next episode. Of course, we do get the new Team Timbers hideout, and that's my main reason why I think this guy is going to be like a more main player than, let's say, someone like Leaf or Julia. Leaf and Julia are definitely like sideline characters who will probably pop in every once in a while.
Maybe.
This guy, I think, is more along the lines of someone like Wendell. Like I said, I keep going back to it, but I don't know. I really want him and Wendell to like be roommates or something. That would be fantastic.
And he could possibly learn that not all vampires are necessarily bad, I guess.
Exactly. It'd be a heartwarming racial allegory, like all great animated films like The Land Before Time are. Call back. Anyways. Okay. Yeah, just overall a pretty solid bunch of episodes, Jacob. I'm kind of running dry on things to say about it just because I watched all 5 of these in a row, and it's sort of like one big movie at this point in my mind. So
I just really like the hints of continuity in between it. Like, I mean, like I said, I wonder if the whole lullaby aspect of this one will come to it.
yeah, I'm glad you bring that up, because the lullaby was definitely treated as like perhaps the most serious moment of the first 5 episodes thus far. Like that moment definitely had some weight to it. So I'm very curious to see where they go with that.
But yeah, so like I'm definitely looking forward to where this series goes. It's definitely has a lot of potential.
For sure.
And with everything that can go on in the Wayne, it's like the possibility for stories are endless.
Yeah, and I like how, like I said, I like how this series feels like it both has an episodic kind of like monster of the week feel to it, along with an ongoing storyline and continuity. It's kind of got the best of both worlds, and I like that. We'll see how much it keeps up the episodic flair, because, of course, as the show gets deeper and deeper into its mythology, it's not going to surprise anyone that we're going to need to keep up with the episodes more. But yeah, overall, I'm definitely excited to dive into the next few. But you know what I'm even more excited about, Jacob?
What?
The return of DuckTales.
Oh, yep. Woohoo.
I mean, I'm sorry. I like this show a lot, but as much as I like that show, man, the first episode of DuckTales just landed like a rocket, man. It just rocked so hard it caused an earthquake. Holy crap. And so Jacob and I will be covering DuckTales episodes 2 and 3, hopefully tomorrow, Sunday at the absolute latest. I can't wait for that, Jacob. Any final thoughts on Welcome to the Wayne?
No, like I said, I definitely like the direction the series is going so far. I hope it continues in this direction. It continues, and if it's anything to go by, I'll be definitely enjoying my stay at the Wayne.
All right, folks. Thanks for listening, and have a good night. Well, this is an inconvenient setback.